shore of Lake Erie, place of wind. So I'm out here for a week's decompression after Mind Camp. Kind of a good thing to do, just kind of get some downtime, make sense of things, kind of glue together in my mind, you know, everything I took in there, what it means, and just get some downtime. But the big thing about this North Shore is the wind. And if you come out here nowadays, you drive up and down the north coast of Lake Erie, it's just dotted the whole length with windmills now. And I think that's an incredible metaphor for the wind power coming off this lake. This is a lake of wind. This North Shore is always all about the wind. And these big, massive, white behemoths on the landscape, churning away night and day, collecting that wind energy, is really a great metaphor and reminds you of the power of the wind off of this lake. They're everywhere. But when you get actually down on the beach, you know, kind of the human level, it's also really powerful. There's always a wind blowing, prevailing wind off that lake, and it affects everything. Overnight, the winds can change and affect what's on the shore. Changes what's on the shoreline all the time. You can change the smell of the water. It's always affecting the birds. There's turkey vultures that really take advantage of this wind up and down the coastline. You can see them being affected by the wind, and smaller birds too. Even monarch butterflies, kind of time of year is the time of year they gather up on the shoreline, start to get ready for their migration, and the wind affects how they cross the lake. So the wind here is just this constant metaphor, changing waves, changing sound, changing smells. And we were at Mind Camp this year. There was also a lot of wind off that lake there as well. There was this constant nice breeze, and sometimes more than just a calm breeze or a gentle breeze, but a strong breeze. And it soon became a metaphor for me at Mind Camp about what Mind Camp was all about this year. For me, it was a time of change. And change quotes kind of litter our language. Our language is full of change quotes, especially using wind. You know, we always think of the famous one, Bob Dylan, you know, the answer, my friend, is, you know, is blowing in the wind. Bob Seger, you know, up with the sun, gone with the wind. But even more historical ones all through history. Think of Winston Churchill, for example. You know, kite flies the highest against the wind, not with it. So I guess it's up for us to decide what we're going to do with the winds of change when they come into our lives. You know, we're going to use them to propel us, or we're going to just recognize them and move with them, or at least recognize that they're bringing us some kind of a message. So for me, one of the most famous of them all was by a former British Prime Minister in 1960. He gave a speech in South Africa, Harold Macmillan. And the famous line out of that speech was, "The winds of change are upon us and moving through the continent." It goes on much longer than that. Pretty profound. He was talking about, you know, some pretty profound things back then, and trying to introduce some new thinking. I like to take that quote. Certainly I'm not going to use it for anything as profound as what he did back in South Africa in 1960. But that whole idea that the winds of change are upon us is pretty powerful. And for me at Mind Camp, that wind was a metaphor. And being out the lake here is reminding me of that power. That there was a wind of change upon me. And I think it was in a lot of other people this year, maybe more so than others. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't for some people. But it was pretty profound for me, and a lot of messages came to me, and it was basically a time of wind of change for me. So I kind of hope maybe you had the same thing happen for you. I guess really what I want to say is, if you did feel some winds of change, or the wind of change was upon you, is that you use that wind and don't ignore it. Can you harness it to propel you in some way, or can you change direction, or are you going to have to tack into that wind, or use it like the kite to fly higher? Not sure, it's up for you. I know for me though, it's really a wind that's going to help change direction going forward. So I really hope you found some winds of change at Mind Camp. I know I did, and I hope they work for you. Arm's length from there. Okay, autofocus. Got it.